Okay, now we are going to discuss capital adequacy ratio. In order to avoid the risk of insolvency, banks should have adequate capital and reserves against advances or other business undertaken by the banks. So, what is the purpose of maintaining capital adequacy ratio? In order to avoid the risk of insolvency, every bank should have adequate capital and reserves against the advances or other business undertaken by the bank. And the capital adequacy ratio is calculated as follows. Adequacy ratio is equal to capital adequacy ratio or CAR is equal to capital funds divided by risk weighted assets plus risk weighted off balance sheet items. Risk weighted assets plus risk weighted off balance sheet items. Then what is risk weighted assets? Risk weighted assets are those assets whose values are adjusted for the risks they involve. Risk weighted assets are those assets whose values are adjusted for the risks they involve. Each asset is multiplied by the risk weight factor. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്കറിയാം ബാങ്കിൻ്റെ എല്ലാ അസറ്റിനും എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ലോൺസ് ആൻഡ് അഡ്വാൻസസ് ആണ് ബാങ്കിൻ്റെ അസറ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. എല്ലാ അസറ്റിനും ഒരേ റിസ്ക് അല്ല, അപ്പം അതിന് ഒരു വെയിറ്റേജ് കൊടുക്കും. അപ്പം അങ്ങനെ ഓരോ അസറ്റിനെയും ഈ റിസ്ക് വെയിറ്റേജ് ഫാക്ടർ കൊണ്ട് മൾട്ടിപ്ലൈ ചെയ്താൽ കിട്ടുന്നതാണ് റിസ്ക് വെയ്റ്റഡ് അസറ്റ് എന്നുകൊണ്ട് അർത്ഥമാക്കുന്നത്. ദ പ്രിൻസിപ്പിൾ ഇസ് ദാറ്റ് more risky an asset, more capital should be kept. The principle followed here is more risky an asset, then more capital should be kept by the bank. Apart from assets appear in the balance sheet, some off-balance sheet items, such as guarantee given by the bank, are also to be taken into consideration. So, loans and advances will appear in the balance sheet. Apart from the assets appear in the balance sheet, some off-balance sheet items, means items given outside the balance sheet, should be taken into consideration for the purpose of calculating CAR, capital adequacy ratio. At present, banks are required to maintain capital adequacy ratio at 9%. This means that if a bank makes an advance of rupees 100, it should have at least rupees 9 as its capital base. Okay, so in order to make an advance of rupees 100, the bank should have at least rupees 9 as its capital base. There are two categories of capital, Tier 1 capital and Tier 2 capital. First one, Tier 1 capital. Tier 1 capital is permanent capital and readily available at the time of crisis. It is permanent capital and readily available capital at the time of crisis. Tier 2 capital. Tier 2 capital is the less permanent and are not readily available. Okay. Thank you.